I got to stand up for this one. We're going to talk about the PPP, or known as the Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. What is it? It's an SBA program funded by the federal government for $350 billion. Who's it for? It's for small businesses, it's for nonprofits, it's for sole proprietors or other legal entities that fit the requirement of having 500 employees or less, and has also been suffering a loss in business due to the COVID-19 or the corona pandemic. That's who the program is for. It's not for the businesses that are succeeding right now, the businesses that are turning a profit, the businesses that are not losing or laying employees off. It's not for you. The $350 billion that the federal government has put in, it's gonna fucking dry up. And businesses who are profiting right now and who are succeeding and who aren't being affected by it, don't take the money if you don't fucking need it. Leave it for the small businesses and for the independent contractors. Let me help you with the fucking economics, all right? It's $350 billion that the government set aside. There may not be any more. That might be it. And how long is that gonna cover for us? We don't know. We don't know when the government's gonna open the economy back up for business. It could be 2 months, could be 3, could be 4. It could be up until August, as some models and stuff show. We don't know. So don't take any of the money who's set aside for these businesses that are struggling, that have worked 25, 30 years, been in business 10 years, who've worked their ass off, who've sold everything they've had to have their restaurant, to have their beauty store, to have their mechanic shop. Because for this is everything for them. Everything is on the line. By you sitting there and taking the money when you don't need it, stashing it away in some type of fund or some type of escrow account or money account where you're gonna make a little bit of interest on it, it's not the right thing to do. It's fucking business ethics. And let me tell you how this plays out. It's simple. You may think that it's free money. You're gonna get calls from your lawyers. You're gonna get calls from bankers. You're gonna be pushing to give you to take this money to fill out your application and call it a grant. It's a fucking loan, all right? Eventually, when all this settles and the smoke clears, the federal government will do an audit. They will hire a third-party agency to come in and audit this and do a lessons learned from this stimulus package. And when they dig in the weeds and find out there are companies who have abused the program or taken advantage of the program from other small businesses and it caused small business to go out of business, the government's gonna come want their money back. And when they do, and they will, the house always wins, they're gonna come back plus penalties, plus interest, and they're gonna come to collect. We'll probably play this video 5 years from now, 3 years from now, whenever fucking happens, mark my word. Stop playing the fucking short game. Play the long game. That's what being a true entrepreneur and a business owner is, all right? So for all you CEOs out there or business owners who, when you were fucking fat and happy and went out and bought your fucking sports car, your fancy McMansion, or taking fucking trips and popping bottles in the south of France, wherever the fuck you go, businesses and the business cycle goes ups and downs. There are times of good and there are times of bad. Look at the recession when the recession hit back in 2008, all right? If you didn't learn from that and plan your business and set your business up to be recession-proof, then you deserve to go out of business. You do. If you need the funds, apply. Now here's the problem. I know some of you are gonna go apply for a loan, and you're gonna go to banks where you haven't been doing business with before, and those banks are gonna turn you away, right? You're gonna feel frustrated, you're gonna feel upset, and you're gonna try to go to other banks. And next you know, those banks may be capped out because each bank can only borrow so money or lend so much out to everybody. The small business owner, what you need to do is go ahead and try to hire back as many people as you can. Convince them that they need to come back. And for the employees, we talked about trickle-down economics. Now let's run it the other way. If you don't come off unemployment, your business owner doesn't meet the requirement of the 70% rule that those funds of the stimulus package has to go towards payroll. So now, let me break this down even further for you, okay? So, the business owner is already losing money for the past 2 months, 2.5 months because of the social distancing and businesses being closed. The curbside pickup now for restaurants, I'm talking to the restaurant industry now because they're one of the hardest industries hit, right? It's barely keeping the lights on, okay? A lot of these businesses are forced to do that because they have so much inventory of items that they didn't want to lose the shrink on it, right? Because they can't claim it as a business loss. Why? Here's how business works, right? Business insurance, right, doesn't cover pandemics. So it doesn't cover it, right? So the business owner has to keep the doors open somehow so he's not losing $7,000 in food that he's bought weeks prior for this closing that everything spoils. This is how this all works, okay? So if you take that by him being closed 2.5 months, by you not coming back to work, that loan that he's asked for, which is a forgiveness loan if he meets all the requirements, now if he doesn't meet the 70%, turns into a loan he has to pay back plus interest, right? So that guy, not composed of the money he's lost already. Now remember, he still has creditors. He still has invoices. He still has bills he's had to pay. Most companies gave him 2-month reprieve, right, or forgiveness. But at the end, you got to pay the piper. Everyone's gonna have to pay those guys. Everyone's gonna want their money. Now, with that guy being closed, that guy's gonna have no choice but to close down and possibly declare bankruptcy. And you spread this out through thousands and thousands of businesses across America. Now we have an issue of loans that need to be paid back by the government that small business owners can't pay back due to a large portion is because the workforce, 6.6 million as of today on unemployment for this week, right? Aren't coming back to work to help the small business owners. This is how this all works, right? And for the companies right now, right? Right now, everyone's getting business calls and from different agencies, banks, accountants or whatever, right? Of trying to get the loan. Right now, as companies are bleeding, there's a lot of sharks in the water. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't need the loan, don't take it. And if you've taken the loan, what you need to do is withdraw your application. Call that bank right now, call that lender, and withdraw that application. Because remember, in the end, the house always fucking wins.